Hello YouTubers, it's me, you and me too, and welcome to Let's Go Retro! But before I dig into what Let's Go Retro is, we're going to talk about first-person shooters, or as some people call them, FPSs. Now at the moment, they are extremely popular. I myself am not a big fan, but I will admit there's some good titles out there. Now as far as I can tell, there are three main different types of FPSs. You have the futuristic types set on alien planets with crazy guns. You have the normal down-to-earth types, which are normally military based. And finally you have the movie license games like the Bond series. Then we have what I consider a subgenre of shooting games. Games which involve first-person shooting but aren't the major thing, like horror games, perhaps fantasy games that take futuristic stuff and put it in a realistic looking environment. But you'd be wrong to think that shooting games have only recently become popular. They've been popular for a long time, obviously not originally in first person. Back in the 8-bit era, people still enjoyed shooting games quite a bit. In fact, I would say they were more of a challenge since I enjoy them a lot more. There's games are considered hard today, but trust me, these games were a lot harder. The Halo of the 8-bit era probably would be Metroid or maybe Mega Man. However, as for the itty-bitty, gritty, down-to-earth stuff, there's only one game that could really fulfill people's wishes. The game was known as Contra. Contra started off as an arcade game, but we're going to be taking a look at the far more famous home console port for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Unfortunately, if you don't own one, you're not going to be able to play it. It has not been ported to the Wii Virtual Shop yet. The game has two different stories, one for Japan and one for America. If you're in Japan, your story is set in the far distant future, where terrorists have taken over the world and you got to stop them. Meanwhile, if you're over in America, it's pretty much the same story, except the terrorists are now aliens, and it's set in the present. In the game, you control the characters either Lance or Bill. Why is there two characters? Because this game had co-op, which was quite a big thing for a game back then. Not many games had these. And trust me, you were going to need it. This game is ridiculously hard, and if you haven't got a pal along for the ride, you're gonna be in trouble. Fortunately, help is at hand in the form of the Konami code. Created to give players a helping hand, the Konami code in this game will give you 30 lives plus 3 continues, giving you a whopping 120 in all. And you're gonna need every last one of them. To access the code, fortunately it's very simple. All you need to hit is up, up, down, down, left, right, A, B, and then start on the title screen. And you'll be given the lives. This code works in a variety of Konami games, and even some websites. Give it a shot whenever you get the chance. Another bonus is how simple the controls are. A to jump, B to shoot, D-pad to move, and start to pause. And if you hold the D-pad at the right angle, you can shoot diagonally as well. Right, so now that you know the basic premise of the game, the code to help you get through it, and how to control it, let's have a look at what the game looks like. The graphics are okay. They're slightly off-putting, and I'm not sure if they will attract modern-day gamers. However, for the time, they were pretty decent and look very close to the arcade game it was based on, being fluent and copying the style. But in Europe, you're going to have another problem. In fact, there's another thing you're going to have to learn about before you can even think about playing this game. The fact is, you can't play this game, because Contra was never released in Europe. Meet Probotector, the European equivalent to Contra. What's the difference, you ask? Absolutely nothing. Well, other than the graphics. Every single character, including you, has been turned into a robot. Why? Why not? Well, the truth is that European law said that you couldn't glorify war in a game. I'm not sure how turning everyone into robots doesn't do that, but things sure have changed since then, huh? It is the same game, just with different characters, so you can still enjoy it. Whilst you may think that that's pretty bad, the truth is not even America got the original version that the Japanese got from the Famicom. The Japanese version had snow, it had dancing trees, it had map screens, had an animated intro. Heck, the Japanese version even had cutscenes. The controls of this game are pretty good. They're not the most accurate controls in the world, which is a shame because sometimes you really need accuracy. But it just adds to the whole challenge. This game is really hard and you really need to think about every move you do because there's bullets flying in all directions, and if you miss a jump, you are pretty much dead. Your accuracy skills also need to be top notch when it comes to shooting things. Well, not when you've got a super fantastic gun that somehow fires 8 bullets a second, but when you have the standard gun that you receive every time you die, it gets a lot harder, especially when you're dodging bombs, bullets and all kinds of things that are going in your general direction. The game has 2 types of level design, the first one being a platform where you run from the left side to the right side of the screen, or from the bottom to the top, basically shooting enemies and trying to avoid getting killed. However, interestingly, there's also a third person mode. This third person mode has you running down a corridor. It's quite cool, it's 3D 8-bit almost. You basically have to hit the round targets on the walls to open the next door to get through to the next screen. Each time there's a new challenge awaiting you, along with several enemies firing various different bullets. It can get difficult. Really difficult. Also, watch out for that electric fence in front of you. Run into it and you'll get paralysed, and then you're gonna get shot. That's happened to me so many times. However, believe it or not, I don't really care. Why? Because this game's addictive. Really addictive. When you die, you realise it was your fault, not the game. You messed up. And so you decide, hey, I'm going to try it again. I now know what to do. I'm going to get through it. And so you go back, you do the first level again. You die, you go back and do the first level again. You get through it this time. You die on the next one. You go back to the first level. You do the next level as well. You just keep on going and going and going until you beat that level and see the next one. Because you are desperate to get to the next stage. Because it's that much fun. But if taking your time to get good at this game isn't your cup of tea, don't worry, if you collect the medals throughout the stage, you can enjoy all the weapons as well, such as the machine gun, which allows rapid fire, or perhaps the flamethrower, which allows you to toast your enemies, or the spread gun, which sends out a whole wall of bullets at people. There's also a laser gun, but I wouldn't recommend it since it's quite hard to use. If you're good enough, you might even get the Falcon medal, which will destroy all the enemies on screen at that time. If you get a B medal, then you get to become invincible for a short amount of time, walking through your enemies. Now, what adventure game would be complete without some bosses to take care of? Fortunately, you get 10 in this one for every single level. Unfortunately, they're just as hard as the levels themselves, and they're more likely to kill you probably than the level. The first one is actually quite tricky to find your way around it. The second one is a bit easier, but you're still dodging a lot of things. The third one, you're given no clue what you're supposed to do, you just kind of have to figure it out on your own. And the fourth one, I hate it. Mainly because of the fact it flickers around the enemy every single time you're trying to shoot it. Basically, what I'm saying is that every boss gets trickier and trickier to figure your way around, just like the levels. You're gonna die a lot, I'm not gonna lie. The heck, I died so many times I was trying to get this footage. It's ridiculous. I mean, take a look. Even with a Konami code, expect to see this screen a lot, especially when you first start playing the game. But don't worry, you're still going to want to go back to this screen and do it all over again. I'd give the game a shot. Now let's see what we can round up from Contra. Gameplay, 8 out of 10. Definitely worth finding this title. Controls, 7 out of 10. They're a little hard to use now and then. Music, 6 out of 10, although iconic, gets a little repetitive after a while. Challenge is 9 out of 10 because of how hard this game is to play. Graphics, 7 out of 10, though it might be a little off-putting to newer gamers. And finally, replayability, 8 out of 10 because you're going to want to beat this game once you start. The overall score for Contra is 75%. Excellent game, but hard for beginners. That's all for this time. Sayonara.